when we found out that he had Down syndrome, we investigated everything, went to the Department of Health and all of that, and there was nothing. When it came time for him to go to school, I thought, we'll go to the special ed coordinator and he'll start in a special class. She told me he can't go to school until he's 8. That made no sense at all to me. Mary was going when she was 5, and I thought, well, he needs it more than she does. So that's when I decided to start teaching kindergarten. That was our first effort at mainstreaming. And I took Billy with me to the school. Billy and I have been pioneers in several things. He was in a regular kindergarten and did so well. I went from teaching kindergarten, I started back to school and became a special ed teacher. As parents, we are a strong force. The law for education of handicapped children would not have been passed without parents caring about their children and about other children who need services. As he was to go into an intermediate class, at that time I knew the teacher, I knew everybody in the system, and I knew that particular class would not be a learning environment for him. So again, I went to the special ed coordinator and I asked her if there was another situation he could be in, and she laughed and said, well, he could go to Talbotton Junior High. The reason she laughed was because that was an all-black school. We lived in Georgia and Alabama during the 60s, which was a hotbed of segregation. I was looking for a good teacher, so I went there and talked with the principal, who was very cordial. And he said, of course, we would like to have Billy, but first, why don't you go visit Miss Sanders' class and see what you think? Well, Billy and I both went, and it was a wonderful classroom, and I knew immediately that was a good place for him. He was the first white child to enter that school. After that, other parents of his schoolmates went into that class. So I think it was really a breakthrough for all of us. The kids all got along well together, and she entered them in all sorts of contests. And one of my favorite stories, one day there was a picture in the paper of Billy with his friends from Talbotton Junior High where they had won a prize. So I took that to my school to show to my students. By that time I was teaching out at Fort Benning. I had a class of junior high kids who were called educable mentally retarded. And I said, I wanted you to see a picture of my son. And this one kid said, Miss Schulz, which one's your boy? The last part of my career and the longest was at Western Carolina University in a teacher preparation program. And during that time I wrote and co-authored several textbooks. It was ironic that during the time I was exploring mainstreaming as a viable educational practice, Billy continued to attend his TMR class in a room totally separated from a school. Mrs. Thomas was devoted to the children.
Butch, Cheryl, Debbie, and Linda, and Alan, and Butch.
Thanksgiving, they baked pumpkin pies and put on a play, complete with costumes and props. To this day, Billy remembers his lines as a pilgrim.
Oh, I know it. Let's see. We came across the ocean, far across the sea. We came to America, we wanted to be free. Let's have a big dinner. Invite friends, the Indians, God is good to us. Billy graduated from high school, and we had a big party. Lots of people came, and it was a wonderful experience. But after that, what? And I realized at that time that although people in my generation had fought hard to get classes for our kids and to get all of the kids with disabilities into public schools, there was nothing that came after. The rights that are guaranteed are not guaranteed for life. You have to be sure that they're still in place. My main message that I would like to get across is that in getting services for them, whether it's in school
or after school or in employment, you really have to be proactive.